The long-awaited Changli has finally arrived. If you're watching this video, I know you're excited to get your hands on her. Well, stick around, because I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know about how to build and play this character. Also, if you haven't prepped her level up materials just yet, take a look at our pre-farm guide where I tell you exactly what you need. For everything else, just keep watching. Let's get it. Wuthering Waves is known for writing its skill descriptions like a light novel series, but I'll try to simplify them as much as possible to make them easier to digest. Changli's kit is centered around the forte skill Flaming Sacrifice, so that's where we'll start. This ability is really powerful, even at level 1. So, how do you do it? Easy. Just do a charged attack. But wait. You need 4 enflamement stacks to activate it. Here's how you get them. Casting her ultimate Radiance of Fealty immediately gives you 4 stacks. I know, obtaining energy for your ult takes time. So what do you do in the meantime, in between time? Fear not, my friends. I have the answer. There are a few other ways to obtain stacks, and they're pretty easy to do. They revolve around her True Sight mechanic. To activate her True Sight stance, complete her 4-hit basic attack combo, or use her resonant skill Tripartite Flames. After activating True Sight, the next basic attack gives an enflamement stack. This special True Sight attack can be activated on the ground or in the air. Now with the basics explained, let's get into the details. Her basic attack performs up to 4 consecutive hits. And as mentioned before, after the 4th attack, she enters True Sight. Her basic attacks can be performed both on the ground and in the air, but keep in mind, they do have different multipliers, with the air attacks being stronger. Her charged attack, or heavy attack, does an upward strike, allowing her to skip to the 3rd hit of her air combo, allowing you to reach True Sight faster. Changli's resonant skill has 2 charges, each with a 12-second cooldown. The name of her resonant skill attack, True Sight Capture, is a bit misleading though. While the ability does allow her to enter True Sight after activating it, she is not in the True Sight state during the skill and is thus awarded no enflamement stacks for the skill alone. While in the True Sight state, her next basic attack performs her True Sight attack. Whether you've entered True Sight from her skill or her basic attack, the multipliers do not change and are listed here as they are considered resonant skill damage. However, please keep in mind, depending on if you do the ground or air version, the multipliers between these two will be different, with the ground variant, True Sight Conquest, being stronger. Changli's Resonance Liberation, Radiance of Fealty, is her strongest ability. After casting her ultimate ability, Changli gains all 4 stacks of enflamement. If she follows this up with her Flaming Sacrifice, she will gain a massive 25% attack buff. But a point of note is that this must be done within a 10-second window. Changli's outro skill, Strategy of Duality, provides a huge buff for the incoming character, giving them an amplification of 20% fusion damage and 25% ult damage. Her intro skill brings her to the field, attacks mid-air, and gives her True Sight status. Changli's inherent skill 1, Secret Strategist, gives both her ground and air True Sight attacks 5% fusion damage per enflamement stack. Her inherent skill 2 is amazing. When casting her ultimate or Flaming Sacrifice, this passive skill gives Changli 20% fusion damage and ignores 15% of the target's defensive stats. Unlocking the 4 outer nodes can unlock a maximum of 8% crit rate, and unlocking the inner 4 nodes unlock a maximum of 12% attack bonus. Upgrade priority is simple. Upgrade everything. Unlike some other games, in Wuthering Waves, all the characters pretty much use all of their kits. Even healers find use in upgrading their basic attacks. With that said, if you just had to choose the skills to upgrade earliest, I'd recommend unlocking both her inherent skills as soon as possible. They both buff her kit tremendously. Afterwards, I'd focus on her Forte Circuit, Resonance Skill, and Resonance Liberation. Her best echoes revolve around a standard 4-3-3-1-1 setup. If you don't know what that means, that's when you equip 1 4-cost echo, 2 3-cost echoes, and 2 1-cost echoes. You should aim for the stat priority, crit on the 4-cost, fusion damage on the 3 costs, and attack percent on both the 1 costs. For substats, I would recommend targeting crit as much as possible, with heavy attack damage, resonance skill, and resonance liberation damage getting in where they fit in. Her best in slot sets are Molten Rift and Moonlit Clouds. For dealing considerable amounts of damage, I strongly recommend Molten Rift set and using Infernal Rider as her 4-cost echo. Her ultimate's energy requirement was quietly buffed just the other day, but if you feel you just aren't reliably able to cast her ultimate when you need it, consider Moonlit Clouds as an option, with Impermanence Heron as her 4-cost echo. Moonlit Clouds and Impermanence Heron both boost the attack of the incoming resonators and open up some support capabilities for her. Can't let her walk around empty-handed, so I'm telling you her best in slot weapons too. Changli's best in slot weapon is her signature Blazing Brilliance. At max level, it gives 587 base attack with 48% crit damage. The passive gives 12% attack and has a very easy to activate secondary passive that buffs resonance skill damage. Her second best weapon is the standard banner sword, Emerald of Genesis. It gives crit rate and its passive gives a sizable amount of energy regen and attack percent. For her free-to-play options, I'd recommend Commando of Conviction or Lunar Cutter. For those of you who have a lot of pulls saved up, or just happen to be whales or dolphins, there are numerous stopping points to give her a sizable buff. Let's get into it. Her sequence 1 gives resistance to interruption while also boosting skill damage and the damage of Flaming Sacrifice by 10%. If you wanted an early stopping point, sequence node 2 is your answer. It boosts her crit damage by a whopping 25% when she has Inflamement stacks. Sequence 3 boosts ult damage by 80%. Sequence 4 is another great stopping point. Here Changli gives the ability to buff the entire team's attack by 20% for 30 seconds. Keep in mind though, this is after using her intro skill. Sequence node 5 increases Flaming Sacrifice's multiplier and damage dealt by 50% respectively. You know how Inherent Skill 2 ignores 15% of the target's defense? Well, Sequence Node 6 causes her Resonant Skill, Flaming Sacrifice, and her ultimate to also ignore an additional 40% of the target's defense. Now, making her strong by herself is great, but she's even stronger in a team. Changli works well with multiple different team compositions. One great team composition to use is a Mortefi and Verena team. While I personally prefer Baiji or Spectral Rover as my dedicated healer, I can't deny how beneficial Verena can be for nearly any team right now. In addition to her healing, Verena's outro skill provides an all damage deepen buff. In addition to Mortefi being an amazing off-field support, his outro skill buffs heavy attack damage by a whopping 38% for 14 seconds. Changli's Flaming Sacrifice is heavy attack damage. Also, just as much as Mortefi buffs Changli, she buffs him by giving 20% fusion damage and 25% ult damage. And this is also to a character that relies primarily on fusion damage provided by their ult. Changli is a flashy, eye-catching, and powerful character. I know our knowledge of new and interesting applications of this character will only grow as time goes on. I really hope what I provided here today can help give you direction on playing and building one of the best characters in the game so far. If you found value in this video, please consider liking and subscribing. That is all I have for you today. Catch you in the waves. Peace.